We're here today at Software Testing Conference North, and we've just heard a talk from Chris Thacker, the test manager of Money Supermarket. Chris, you spent a little bit of time today talking to people about how they implement Agile processes into their work. You've been involved with Agile since about 2007. What was special about the project and the organisation that you came into at Money Supermarket?
So it was such a big project, it was really, really key. We were doing a kind of rewrite of the car insurance chain, which was a huge part of our site. So it was just the kind of size of the project. I think a lot of people pick small kind of Agile projects, but for a company, a Money Supermarket size, to do something in that way, it was just the kind of, it felt like we could really move a FTSE 250 company and do something really special.
And you're talking about a company that isn't, as you say, a small company. What were the most important things that you needed to get nailed down straight away when you're working with a company of that size and type?
So we kind of agreed tooling, so what tooling we wanted to use, so everyone was on the same boat there. And then a starting point for the Agile team, so we kind of said, what do we want our ways of working to look like originally? The idea being that, for me, Agile is about iterating very quickly away from that, but obviously you need a start point, so what we're going to look like in, say, 10 sprints time or 10 weeks time is going to be completely different, but without something for week one, which everyone agreed with, it was going to be very difficult. So we got the tooling down, the kind of initial processes down, the idea being that we changed very regular, so it kind of meant that there wasn't a need for a huge amount of kind of arguments up front. It was like, let's just start with this, we're going to move in a week's time. Is it really important to spend a lot of time arguing what we're like? Let's just pick something and just move away from that line in the sand.
And what were the processes and initiatives that you implemented that you were most proud of, or you think that achieved the best results for you?
So at Money Supermarket, we had a kind of heavyweight SDLC process that we've managed to kind of break down. So some of the stuff that we talked about, was the kind of 4 amigos, which is basically an extension of 3 amigos. So the developer, the tester, the product owner, we brought in other members of the team, so like compliance and risk, which is obviously very special to Money Supermarket, and UX and UI. We did a lot of work with handovers, so before we merged our code and code reviews, the idea being that rather than having a lot of feedback loops where we kind of had to go back to the developer, we could kind of smooth out the release process and go from idea to inception very quickly.
And you mentioned in the talk that one of the first things that you said right off the bat is that testing isn't just the tester's problem, that it's everyone's problem. How did you make that a reality within your organisation?
So it's about changing the testing role, so it's about using the QA. So one of the things we talk about is like a quality analyst, it's kind of quality consultant. So rather than them saying, well, I do all the testing, it's saying, I want the testing to act in this way. So you talk to your developers, your product owners, and say, actually, these are the things that I would be looking for, and try and get some of those to kind of co-opt into it. So, as a perfect example, I say to my developers, I'm going to test this, and this. So when they're building it, they're thinking about these things. They will ideally put some testing in that will mean that it works first time, and I don't need to test that again. So it's about saying to them, I'm going to test this, and if they're smart, they're going to code around that. So that makes my job at the back end really, really easy. And you get the product owner to kind of get in as well. So when we're looking at things at the end, the product owner can say, actually, yeah, that's exactly what I expected it to look like. And you don't have to have like a sign-off phase at the end. It's all about getting the team as collaborative as possible.
And you've been working in testing for a while. Have the characteristics that you're looking for in a tester changed? And what do people look for in a modern tester now?
So for me, I think it's about being able to communicate and influence with your team, regardless of your skill set in technical wise. I think being able to talk and communicate and, facilitate good testing is really important. And then I always look for technical testers. And I'm not so much testers who can write code. I want testers who will happily look through log files, look at monitoring kind of stuff, which is really simple to learn, but not many testers do it. And I think by getting into that kind of way, you're going to add huge amounts of value that that other people aren't. So they say coding's great, but don't be afraid to just be more technical, so understand how environments work, how things sit together, and that's really, really simple to learn. You don't have to get into the kind of nuts and bolts of the coding.
And you've worked for the company now, you've achieved some results.
Yeah.
What would you say the advice that you would give to someone approaching a project at a company of a similar disposition, a similar type, similar scale? So
just try it. So come in with the idea of what you want to do, and basically go to whoever's in charge and whoever can the kind of decision maker and explain to them what you want to do. But then you've got to caveat it. So a great example is Richard Branson when he was starting Virgin Airways. He bought a plane from Boeing, but basically he had a guarantee that after a year he'd give it back. The idea being that he made it safe to fail, and that's what you want to do. So you want to say, actually, I want to do this, this, and this with the team, and we will know within so long how it's working, yes or no. And if it's a no, we can change it. But if it's yes, let's carry on. And you're basically saying to your boss, you're thinking about what you're doing, you're thinking about what success looks like, and then actually the boss and yourself can measure in that and kind of iterate away from that.
Thank you very much, Chris.
No problem, John. Cheers.